All right, welcome back to part three. If you made it through parts one and two, congratulations. If you didn't watch parts one and two and you're just now seeing this, um, welcome, I guess. I'm gonna try to do my best here. I'm doing all these in what's the term, succession? I don't know. I'm getting kind of burnt out on doing it, but I'm gonna try to do my best. Okay, let's go. So we we have our I'm sorry. We have our terrain in here. We have the fencing in here that I showed you how to do. For now, I'm just gonna hide both of those because this one is all about making continuous banners. So for that, there's a different technique, and let's make sure our cursor is set at 0. All right. So now I'm just gonna model the banners really quick. And I use the term model very lightly because it's just a plane. However, you can use this technique to create a continuous path of of a more detailed banner. Let's say you wanted to actually model the stakes, or let's say you wanted to have a fence with actual like fence posts and whatever. This is the method you'd use for that. You get a lot more detail out of this method. But for this, I'm going to show, what do we have to do? Since it is a video game and we kind of have to keep the poly count low, I'm just going to do a plane for this. And I'll show you the few different steps that I do throughout it. Okay, so straight off the bat, we got the plane, a new plane, and you scale it to what your UV map is laid out as. I'll pull up mine real quick. Here's my banner that I made. You can see it's 8 times wider than it is tall. I do it that way. Because and then you can also see that there's stakes throughout it. I do it that way so we can get some more randomness in the wrinkles and stuff. And I know that these aren't like the best or the most random or whatever, but if you do it this way, you get a lot more randomness out of your texture. Like even with this way, even super simple, half of it is white, half of it is black. You couldn't do that if you just if we used our previous method of how we did the fencing. It would just be this one single thing repeated throughout the entire way. This way we get a lot more random. It helps it look more natural, and you can get a lot more freedom in like texturing and stuff. So we have to hit S to scale this, X to scale it along the X, and then 8 to make it 8 times wider than it is tall. We're going to press Control A, apply the scale to that bad boy. We're going to go to Tab Edit Mode. We have to unwrap it to that. Let's switch to Texture Mode to make sure it's right side up, which it is. Now I'm going to press Control R, hover my mouse over this, and then just roll my that like rolly ball on the mouse. What is it? Like the scroller? I guess that might be the right word. And now we have edges throughout our model that it will bend along. And I just set it up as wherever I have a stake, because that makes sense. Wherever there's a stake in the ground is going to determine the height of the banner, right? Does that make sense? Cool. Now, where are we at? So we have our banner modeled, we have it subdivided, we have it unwrapped. Sweet. Now let me press 3 on the keyboard to pull us to a side view. You can see it's not like orientated in the right way, so I'm just gonna like rotate it on maybe the Y or the X axis 90 degrees. Now I'll rotate it on the Z axis 90 degrees. So now you can see it's kind of in the right orientation. Press 3 to go straight on again. We got to make sure that it's the right dimensions. I'm just going to apply by pressing Control A the rotation again. Oh, my cat is going crazy. What did I do? Sorry, my cat distracted the hell out of me. Okay, rotation and scale will apply. Bam. Right now it's 2 feet tall, which is not tall enough. So typically this will obviously be different depending on what you're trying to do. But for these banners, I usually make them 3 feet tall. So I'm gonna switch my Z dimension to 3 because I want it to be 3 feet tall. And as you can see, that changed the dimension to 1.5 instead of 1. So let's switch the other dimensions to 1.5 so it actually makes sense. And it doesn't stretch the UV. Bam. Actually, this one can just be 1 because it's a solid plane. Probably shouldn't even gone into it. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody with that. But now, apply that scale. 3 feet tall, 24 feet long, and the last part we have to do is make sure the bottom is actually like the bottom of it is on the ground, because right now the center of it's like getting cut in half by the ground. So all we have to do is just take the height of our banner, divide it by 2. So I'm just gonna press G for grab, Z for the Z axis, and then I'm going to press 1.5 on the keyboard because that means I'm raising it 1.5 feet because 1.5 is half of 3. Bam, hit enter. Now our banner is the correct size. It's at the correct height. It's unwrapped. We have our subdivision points in it wherever we have a stake. This bad boy's ready to go. So cool, that's our banner. Let's just go in here. Let's just name this thing banner. Oh, hang on a second. Let's just name it banner. We have this random thing up here. Oh, I think this was the fence from before. Let's just name this fence so we don't get super confused. Probably didn't need to put that in the video, but it's there. All right, so now we have our banner. You're gonna press 7 to go to an overhead view again. And I'm also going to, I guess the next thing we have to do is add another curve, Bezier curve, right? We're going to rotate this banner 90 degrees. Normally, it automatically resets to this. I don't know why it wasn't in this instance. I don't want to go back and record this entire video. But, just make sure when you add your Bezier curve, right? We're going to do the same thing as before. Just hide our handles and stuff. Switch all of it to auto. Just make sure your curve is running parallel with your actual banner model. So now we have our banner, we have our curve. Couple fun things now. Oh, I almost forgot. Remember how we had to rotate our banners so they're in line with the oops, did I just mess up? No. So remember how we had to rotate the banner so they're in line with our curve like this? Make sure you apply the location and the rotation and scale to the banners, otherwise it will cause issues down the line. The banner curve we didn't mess with, so it's good to go. So what we're gonna do now is apply. I just let my cat inside and it's like clawing at the window to go back outside, so bear with me if the cat starts meowing in the background. Okay, so now we're gonna toggle we got our terrain back up, right? Now what we're gonna do is select both our banner and our banner curve. I'm going to do Shift D to duplicate it. And then I'm just going to raise it up a bit so it's clearly above our highest point in our terrain. And then similar to the fencing, we're just going to pick a spot to start and bring it over. So let's just say we want to start our banners here, right? And all right, hang on, I can't. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know where the hell I was at. I guess so. What we're gonna do now is just click on our duplicated banner. You can tell because it's 0.001. Press tab to go to edit mode, and then similar to the fence, just grab one of the vertices and then just start extruding it along whatever path you want it to go on. And let's say we wanted it to follow this little path in the dirt, like so, which I think is how I did it. But now here's a step different between the fencing and the banners, is you kind of want these to be evenly subdivided. Like here you can see these are all pretty good. I got a little loose with it up here, so I'm just gonna subdivide this like so. It obviously doesn't have to be exact, but just kind of even, and then subdivide it enough so your points are just like how do I explain it? You just want your subdivision, like this is clearly enough. You just want it to be enough where it's subdivided wherever when oh my god, I can't talk. Wherever you have a stake in your banner texture, there's at least a vertice on your path, right? So that's clearly enough. We have like 3 vertices in between all the stakes, so clearly that's enough subdivision. So I'm gonna press 7 to go to an overhead view again. I'm gonna activate the magnet, press G on my keyboard, click my mouse without moving my mouse at all, and now you can see that you know what, I should have did a different spot. But yeah, now you can see, bam, we have banners, and I'm gonna do another one real quick just like that because you have to do this multiple times around. Because you typically don't have just one single banner that flows around the entire track. You have to break it up. But I'm going to show you what happens. Make sure you don't have the magnet selected. We're going to duplicate our base banner and banner curve again. We're going to start in a random spot. But this time I'm going to pick a spot that's got a sharp corner and a hill, because I'll show you what happens. So let's just go... I don't know what happened. Oh, I forgot to raise it up. Let's just start over here. Check this out. Get our texture view going again. Go to our banner curve, hit tab. Select one of the vertices and just start ripping it. Okay. And hopefully with me doing it a couple of times, it'll kind of maybe help show the process a little bit better. So like activate our handle so we can kind of clean up this curve a little bit. Not make it look so much like mashed potatoes. Cool. Here's another thing too. So these are really close together to subdivide. So I'm just gonna get everything else subdivided a little bit more evenly. Like that's probably close enough. So just gonna subdivide it again. Activate the magnet. It sounds so weird saying that. G on the keyboard to grab, click the mouse. And now we have a nice banner that's following our terrain, right? Here's, I guess the next step would be get out of that, go to your banner mesh, not the banner curve. And now you're going to want to apply your modifiers. Hit tab to go into edit mode. Press A to select all. Press Control V to pull up the vertice menu, and click the remove doubles. Now it's one solid mesh all the way around. Now the thing that can happen when you do the banners like this is that you will get a maybe if I go overhead it'll show up better. It didn't happen a whole lot. But sometimes you'll get it and like the top of the banners are like, they look like this. And if it happens to you, like, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So here's the last step that I take. And I guess you can kind of see this too. This way, all your the stakes that you pound in the ground are perpendicular to the ground, right? But normally if you were to stake or to hammer a stake into the ground, it would generally just be upright. So remember how we activated our or we made our two meshes in sync? I'm gonna press B on the keyboard, click and drag along the top vertices so it'll only select the top vertices on these banners. I'm gonna press G on the keyboard, and then I'm gonna press G again, so GG. And then I'm just gonna drag it down to the bottom and click my mouse. Now I'm gonna press G again. I'm gonna press Z to raise on the Z axis. I'm gonna press 3 because my banners are 3 feet tall. Now all my my stakes are complete. They're all vertical, right? Do you see the difference? How before they might have been, they were perpendicular to the ground. Now they're all vertical, and that will fix any of the weird like limp banners or stretch banners or falling over banners. This way all of our stakes are completely vertical, and the banners are all the same exact height all the way around. And same thing, just like with the fencing, if we put our backface culling on, you're going to want to do Shift D to duplicate, mesh, normals, flip normals. But go in your UV editor, go to mirror on the X axis, so your textures or whatever, if you have logos, they're not backwards or mirrored or whatever. And now you have a nice banner that follows the terrain perfectly. And that's it. Then you just one last thing. Now, let's say you have all of them. You have to separate them, everything. What you have to do is whatever you have visible in Blender will export in Blender when you export a JM. So I split them up. But now all you'd have to do is just make sure you hide everything in view other than which one to export. Click it, go to File, Export, JM, and save it as whatever, banner 1 JM. Bada bang, bada boom, baby. And that's pretty much it, man. Hopefully this helps somebody. That's it. Bye.